The checkered flag event is back. Get there fast. Leave even faster.
Welcome to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are indoors here at Miller Park. This ballpark is a beautiful one. It opened in 2001, and good thing we got a roof tonight because it is raining outside. John Gibbons' Blue Jays won the final game of the three-game series in Baltimore. They finished up that series 1-2. They split the two games down in Atlanta, a game apiece, and now they're trying to get back on the winning track, looking to win back-to-back games on the road for the first time this season. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. Kevin Pillar leads it off. Ezequiel Carrera bats second, and Jose Bautista is in the third spot. And you look at his numbers for interleague play this season, almost 400 average, 13 for 33 with 4 extra base hits. And then how about the red-hot Devin Travis? He's got a 7-game hit streak, and look at those numbers. 8 doubles, a home run, 8 RBIs over those 7 games, and they've been waiting for this bat to come around, and it is on fire right now. They are set to take on the right-hander from Milwaukee, Big Jimmy Nelson.
27-year-old right-hander making his 9th start of the season, first against the Blue Jays. He was a Brewers second-round draft pick back in 2010, debuted with the Brewers in 2013. Last season made a career-high 32 starts, and he's been throwing the ball very well of late for Craig Counsell. 1-0 with a 1.15 ERA over his last 3 starts. In his last start at San Diego, he earned his 2nd win of the season, went 6 innings, allowing 2 runs. He walked 1 and struck out 8 Padres.
Defensively, the Brewers have got some good athletes on the field, and in the outfield, it's Braun, Perez, and Santana from left to right. Arcia and VR up the middle. Shaw and Thames on the corners, and Manny Pena behind the plate doing the catching for Jimmy Nelson.
Travis Shaw was acquired by Milwaukee from the Red Sox in a trade involving left-hander Tyler Thornburg, and has he ever made a home here early in the season in Milwaukee? Well on his way to career highs already with 9 home runs and 34 RBIs.
Good hitter who has done okay playing at third base. He makes his 39th start at third tonight. Well, Kevin Pillar, he has really gotten comfortable hitting leadoff. He has the 2nd highest leadoff batting average in all of baseball. Here's the first pitch of the game. Pillar takes it upstairs, and we are underway. Pillar's batting average as a leadoff hitter, 324, second only to Gene Segura of the Mariners in all of baseball for leadoff batting averages. As we mentioned, it is a rainy early evening here in Milwaukee, and the ball clubs, of course, got the advantage of this roof, and they hit indoors. The Blue Jays, in fact, had extra hitting early today. After an off day yesterday, both clubs were off. Here's the 1-1 pitch up the middle. That'll be a base hit for Kevin Pillar. He stayed on that breaking ball and just slapped it right up the middle.
Well, if there's one thing Kevin Pillar has done as a hitter this year, and he's continued to evolve as a big league hitter, but his pitch selection is much better, and you see him pounding balls in the strike zone now. Oftentimes we saw him chasing breaking balls out of the zone, chasing the elevated fastballs, but he's been much more disciplined, and it's paying off.
Leadoff man's aboard for Ezequiel Carrera. Pillar with 7 steals. He's been caught 4 times. Both of the Brewers catchers throw very well. Pena has caught 33% of the base stealers. Carrera takes the first pitch strike. Joe, is there a key to Jimmy Nelson's success tonight?
I think for Jimmy Nelson, and it's a lot the same for many pitchers, it's that fastball command. He's got an excellent curveball. Did not throw a single changeup in his last start against the Padres. He said because the curveball was so good, and you credit a pitcher for making that adjustment, but it all starts with getting ahead with that fastball command so that you can use all 4 pitches at any time.
Pena came out of his crouch anticipating Pillar running, but he wasn't. He's got a strong arm. He'll throw behind the runners as well, so as a base runner at first, you can't drift too far off the bag. Ball on the strike to Carrera. Inside. Carrera batting .286 at the start of play tonight. The Blue Jays have put as many left-handed bats as they can get in this lineup. The Brewers have no left-handers on their staff, none in the pen. Pillar will dive back in safely ahead of the throw. This has been a terrible spot for the Blue Jays to play. They've won just 2 of their last 15 games playing here in Milwaukee. And they have had a stretch of 11 straight losses. They split the 2 games here in 2014. But this has not been a friendly ballpark for the Blue Jays. Bouncing ball over the mound. Pilar will hold up. And that is all they can get as they stepped on the bag at second. Villar went to the bag for the force out and Carreras at first.
Well, Jimmy Nelson will pound that fastball, averaging around 94 miles per hour. You can see he uses it almost 70% of the time. Curveball, slider, and changeup. That changeup's the one I talked about. Didn't even use it in his last start because that curveball was so good, and we'll keep an eye on that again tonight. Sometimes a pitcher gets a feel for one of those breaking balls, and maybe it was just on a particular night. We'll see if he duplicates that here again against the Blue Jays.
Here is Jose Bautista playing at third base tonight. Rips it into left field for a base hit, and Bautista has really come on here in this month of May. Not wasting any time. He jumped on that first fastball he sees, Joe.
He sure did, and he is going to live middle in, and you see the catcher Manny Pena set up in there, but Nelson didn't quite get it in as far as he wanted to. Looked like Jose was hunting the fastball, and he got it. That's the situation right there where, as a pitcher, you're lucky that Jose didn't find the seats because he guessed right, got his pitch, and hammered it.
Jose has really been swinging the bat well. Same for this guy on the road, Kendrys Morales, with a .357 batting average over his last 8 road games. He gets the start tonight. Of course, we're in a National League ballpark, so Smoke starts the game on the bench and Morales starts at first. First and second, 1 out for Morales. Not many Blue Jays have at bats against Jimmy Nelson. Bautista, he has 4 now. Morales just 2, and Chris Coughlin in left field, the former National Leaguer, has 15 career at bats. That's it. Bouncing ball. Villar flips to Arcia, back to first, and that's a double play. So the Blue Jays get a couple of first inning hits off Jimmy Nelson, but they ground into a double play to end the inning. Joe Biagini will take them out when we come back to Milwaukee. Place in the NL Central, ahead of the Cubs, ahead of the Cardinals. Jonathan Villar, top of the order. Eric Thames, Ryan Braun, and Travis Shaw. He's got an 11-game hit streak. That tied Yadi Molina for the longest active hit streak in baseball, hitting .356 over those 11 games. And right behind him, Domingo Santana. Over his last 18 games, he's hitting at a .375 clip with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and 11 RBIs. This is a tough lineup, and they have outscored their opponent by 30 runs in the first inning.
26-year-old right-hander Joe Biagini gets the start. It's the 4th start of his major league career. He's never made an appearance against the Brewers. His last start, we talked about it in the open. He took the loss at Atlanta, lasted just 4 innings. The first 6 batters he faced scored, but after that he retired 12 straight Braves. It's the first runs that Joe has allowed as a starter, and he's going to look to get off to a better start here tonight against a team that comes out swinging and have been very good in the first inning.
The Brewers have scored 45 first inning runs. That's the most in baseball, 7 more than the Tampa Bay Rays. Jonathan Villar, as switch hitting second baseman, leads things off. Biagini misses with that first pitch. Villar hitting just .220 for the season. 5 homers and 22 RBI. Fastball is fouled out of play. Joe, Biagini continues to work out of the stretch. Are you surprised he hasn't morphed into the windup? Now this is his 4th start.
I'm not so surprised just yet, and the reason I'm not surprised just yet is there's a comfort zone there. He's pitched out of the stretch all of last year as a reliever and the early part of this season, and that's a bit of an adjustment for a pitcher to make. If you go to your windup right away, there's so many moving parts. Joe's a big guy. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. There's a lot to control and command to get to that desired release point each and every time, and it's very different. Starting pitchers have their routines, relievers have their routines. Joe, as a starter, has altered that a little bit now, because the relievers, we know, they get out here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and begin their throwing program, flat ground, and then they're used to just coming in when the phone rings in the bullpen during the game. They heat up and they're in the game. But for Joe now is adjusting. I think that's a lot to consider if you're going to go to the windup already right now, especially after that difficult start in Atlanta. I think he wants to get back on the right track first.
This gets settled back into a good pattern. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the leadoff man, and Villar swings and misses. Biagini has his first strikeout of the night. Defensively, let's check out the way the Blue Jays set up tonight. In the outfield, it's Chris Coghlan making his first start in left field. Pilar and Carrera in center and right. Goins and Travis up the middle. Jose Bautista at third base. Kendrys Morales making his 7th start at first. Russell Martin back behind the plate, catching for Joe Biagini.
Jose's played plenty of third base in his career, but it has been a while. He's not been there as a starter since 2013. That was with the Blue Jays, just his 3rd appearance this season. John Gibbons has used him in a couple of emergency situations.
Played 4 innings in total. He made a nice double play in Baltimore, filling in late at third base. This is Eric Thames. Thames has gone through a little bit of a rough patch, batting .228 over his last 17 games. Curveball in there for a strike. 1-1 on Thames. Thames was a 7th round draft pick of the Blue Jays in 2008. He played a total of 141 games with the Jays. Ground ball up the middle. And that's going to get between Travis and Goins. Kind of got their wires crossed a bit. Had Travis had a clean path, if Goins had a clean path to that ball, he might have had a chance to make a play.
I think it's his play, because as a shortstop, Ryan moving to his left, and we know that he is very good with that glove. If he could glove this ball, his momentum is taking him to the first base bag. I think if Travis makes the play, he's not going to get Thames. So unfortunately, a little cross up there. The ball rolls into center field.
1 out base hit for Eric Thames. Goins making his 30th start at shortstop. Travis his 36th start at second. They have both played very well. Here is the veteran Ryan Braun. Braun was activated from the DL on Sunday at Chicago. He's coming off the DL. He is all over the franchise leaderboard. He's the all-time home run leader with 292 career home runs. He's in the top 5 in RBIs, extra base hits, runs, total bases, triples, and stolen bases. Swing and a miss. Biagini got into trouble when he had a comebacker in the Atlanta game and threw high to second. That allowed the runner to beat the throw, and that jump started a 6-run first inning.
Just a problem he could not overcome, and Joe's usually pretty good at that. He's so level-headed at getting out of a jam, but he was not able to make the pitch when he had to, and a few hitters later he was down 6-0. It all happened so fast.
Ball and a strike to Ryan Braun. Pretty good pitch just off the outside corner.
That's the fastball command that he's talking about right there. When he is good, or when any pitcher's good, the fastball command is the first thing that you want to make sure you're on with. After that, the secondary pitches work off of that release point. If you don't have your fastball command, it's going to be a struggle, because it's very difficult to command the secondary pitches if that's not working.
Just up, and Braun was able to check and lay off that high fastball. It's 3-1 now to Ryan Braun. Braun is now 33 years old. He was a first-round pick of the Brewers in 2005. First round, he was number 5 in that first round. Knocked down by Morales, and he'll go to the bag and beat Braun there, and Kendrys Morales retires Braun. Well, we mentioned the Brewers have scored 45 runs in the first inning. That's the most first inning runs in all of baseball, and they have the best run differential because of that. The Rays +16, the Brewers are +30. They've outscored their opponents by 30 runs in the first inning, and Joe, that really gives a team a lot of cushion and a lot of confidence early.
Well, it certainly does, and I think the most grateful ones are the starting pitchers to go out there with the leads, and that's why this first inning is going to be a big challenge for Biagini. We talked about his struggles in Atlanta in his first inning, and now you're going up against a team that's throwing some pretty good hitters at you early and have had a lot of success.
Here is Travis Shaw. He is riding an 11-game hit streak. That's tied for the longest active hit streak in the majors. Biagini drops that curveball in there for a strike. Shaw and Yadier Molina both have 11-game hit streaks. He's been a tough hitter in these clutch situations as well, batting .317. Thames at second. Biagini's got a good fastball, but that one missed upstairs.
Joe will throw both the 2-seam and the 4-seam, but he is best when he is pounding the bottom of the zone with that fastball, and he's been around 94, 95. It may come down to tick as a starting pitcher as he builds up into the later innings, but he needs to get that back down in the zone.
Swung on and missed. Travis Shaw, we saw him, of course, with the Red Sox, and he's got a lot of power to the opposite field. He didn't have to pull a ball to hit it out of the ballpark. Really kind of surprised that the Red Sox gave up on him. He had a big season his second year, his first full season, 2016. Biagini's ahead 1-2. Curveball cut on and missed. So Joe Biagini off to a good start here this evening. He gives up a single and nothing more. Scoreless after 1. Clubs got some base runners, couldn't do anything with them. The Blue Jays stranded one, and so did the Brewers. So Jimmy Nelson will work to Devin Travis, Russell Martin, and Chris Coghlan here. And Devin Travis, boy, he has been on some run. Came out of the month of April batting 130, and I think, Joe, most of us thought, man, is he ever going to get another hit?
He was really struggling, and I think a lot of it, too, had to do with, for me, pitch selection. He was chasing pitches off the plate, and we've talked about it before, Buck. I think spring training for Devin coming back from that knee surgery was a challenge. He worked so hard in the offseason to get that body back into baseball playing shape, but he really didn't get a ton of at-bats. So I think most of April was spring training for Devin, and now we're starting to see the Devin Travis we've seen for the last 2 seasons.
Devin Travis hit a home run on Sunday, the only runs the Blue Jays would get in that win over Baltimore. It was his 15th extra base hit in the month of May. If that sounds like a lot, it is. He leads the majors in extra base hits this month, 2 ahead of anybody else. Off the plate, down and away. It's 2 balls and a strike. Devin has now hit in 7 straight games. A .536 average, 15 for 28, 8 doubles, a home run, and 8 RBIs. That's a hit streak. Drives this one into right, and that's going to drop for another hit. Not sure if Santana picked it up cleanly off the bat. He got a late break, and Travis is aboard with yet another hit, and that's 8 straight games now.
Well, Devin goes the other way so well. Catcher set up away, and it is out there. He got jammed a little bit. This pitch looked like it came back, and I don't think Devin thought he had a hit right there. He thought the right fielder was coming in to make a play, but you're right on. It looked like Santana maybe lost it in that bank of lights up over the left side here.
16 for 29 over those 8 games. Russell Martin. He goes after the first pitch. Russell has reached base in 13 straight games. He has been getting his share of walks. He has walked 19 times this season. That's the most for a major league catcher. Russell will tell you he would just as soon be getting more hits and fewer walks, but he has been patient at the plate. And Joe, how does he look since he's come back off the disabled list to you?
Well, I think he looks pretty good. And the issue with Russell, we talked about in spring training. When he came to spring training, he was in the best shape ever. He really stuck to a very strict nutritional plan in the offseason, and he felt a lot younger, especially after getting that knee cleaned up as well. Now, it doesn't always translate in the batter's box. That may take some time. Russ is a slow starter. You look back in his career, that's generally what you're going to see. But what John Gibbons is hoping for out of Martin is to find that little pop in the bat again as the summer heats up here.
And there are the numbers over those last 13 games, including a couple of home runs. There's a base hit to right. Travis is going to go around second and head for third. So it's first and third on a pair of singles here in the second.
Two nice pieces of hitting by Blue Jays hitters back-to-back. Travis and Martin both going the other way. See Russ really stay behind this baseball. And when you've been off a little bit on that disabled list and coming back, that's a great approach. It really slows your body down, slows your head down so that you can see the ball very well, and he just drives that the other way. Very nice approach by both hitters here in the second.
Chris Coghlan starting for the first time in left field here tonight. Coghlan had a big RBI double Thursday down in Atlanta. In the first inning, Blue Jays jumped on Julio Teheran in that first inning, scored 3 runs on 3 hits. Coghlan drove in a pair. That double snapped an 0 for 17 for Chris. We mentioned he is one of the few Blue Jays to have at bats against Jimmy Nelson. He's 4 for 15 with a homer. Ball on the strike now to Coghlan. Ryan Goins is on deck. Blue Jays threatening to break out on top here. Travis at third, Martin at first. They have both singled. Blue Jays now have 4 hits already. Inside, and there's that problem with the fastball command, Joe.
And when you don't have that fastball command, you fall behind hitters. When you fall behind hitters, you generally have to throw the heater, and hitters are in good counts to be looking for that fastball. When you work ahead, now it allows you to use all 4 pitches. Biagini's in the same boat tonight, throwing 4 different pitches, but Jimmy Nelson has all the confidence in the world when you can do that, but you've got to get ahead, and he's having trouble doing that early on.
Oakland bounces it foul off home plate. So it'll be 2 balls and 2 strikes to left fielder Chris Coghlan. Ryan Goins in the 8th spot. Blue Jays grounded into a double play to end the first inning. Change up off the plate. Full count now. Strategy's a bit different with the pitcher hitting in the 9th spot. Might you start the runner here?
You know what managers think about starting the runners with nobody out? The possibility of a double play, and it really just puts a downer on the whole inning.
Not running. And ball 4. The only reason you think about that was the pitcher hitting 2 spots away. But it's all academic now as Coghlan draws the walk and the bases are loaded.
It may be different with the pitcher on deck, but now at least Ryan Goins gets a shot here after Nelson loses Coghlan.
Craig Counsell, the manager of the Brewers, has seen Jimmy Nelson struggle when he can't locate his fastball. So Ryan Goins, and boy, he's got some good splits that favor him in this situation. He's batting .300 with runners in scoring position this season. And the bases are loaded. Outside.
See Nelson missing arm side with those fastballs, and oftentimes pitchers will just rush that delivery a bit. You rush with the front side, the arm trails, and he's missing outside in that right-handed batter's box.
Pena looking for an out anywhere he can get it. Look to the third baseman right there, hoping that Travis had drifted too far, but he didn't. So it's a 1-1 count on Goins. Boy, you got to get something to drive to the outfield and take advantage of this rough inning for Jimmy Nelson. Base hit over the shortstop. Travis comes in to score. They will stop Martin at third, and the Blue Jays are on the board. Ryan Goins with an RBI single continues to hit well with runners in scoring position. 15 ribbies now for Ryan.
Another nice approach by a Blue Jays hitter. Ryan's in the driver's seat here because Jimmy Nelson has nowhere to put him with the pitcher on deck, so he has to throw strikes. Manny Pena set up inside right there. They tried to jam him, but Ryan got the hands out and barreled this ball just enough to get it past the shortstop to drive in the Blue Jays' first run.
So the bases remain loaded for Joe Biagini. Joe had a plate appearance in his previous outing at Atlanta, had a sacrifice bunt. So he's going to have to swing away here. I don't think you could ask him to bunt in this situation. Go ahead, Joe, hit one. This is so foreign to American League pitchers when they play in interleague games that very difficult for them to get comfortable at the plate.
Well, the Blue Jays almost got a free one right here. Manny Pena clearly got crossed up with his pitcher Jimmy Nelson, looking for an off-speed pitch, and Nelson almost airmailed that fastball to the backstop.
Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, out talked to his right-hander, and you can see the splits not exactly where you want. It's a 50-50 proposition whether he throws a ball or a strike. Blue Jays have 5 hits already. They have scored a run this inning. Ryan Goins with the RBI single to left. Five singles.
Part of that message from Derek Johnson could be too, listen, the pitcher's up there, we don't even know if he's going to swing the bat. Some managers in the American League will say just go stand up there.
He takes his strike. Joe Biagini's father Rob is here in Milwaukee, and he's a very proud dad. We got a chance to say hi to him last night, and he is all excited about what his son has done early on. Swung on and missed, but Rob played 2 years of minor league baseball in the San Francisco Giants organization. He was a pitcher just like his son. So you can bet you've been there. You've seen your son play. It's a pretty good feeling. Ground ball. Hit towards second. They'll get one, and Biagini's going to have an RBI. Joe Biagini hits into a fielder's choice, but Russell Martin comes in to score, and the Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. And the proud papa just saw his son get his first RBI.
That is an outstanding piece of hitting by Biagini, because you're not expecting really anything from your pitcher, but he got jammed with a fastball, but put it in play. And how many times do we say you put a ball in play, good things can happen? Not only does he put it in play, he hustles down that first base line to beat out the double play, driving his first run as a big leaguer. That's what I'm talking about.
He got an RBI. He was going run, 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 run. I bet you he's done that 1,000 times in Little League games, in high school games, and college games. That's the first big league RBI for Joe Biagini.
Well, Rob told me last night that he coached Joe as a kid, and he was just an average type player, nothing special. But then as he got into his teen years,
they're going to come home, and they've got Coughlin in a rundown, and he does a good job. They could only get the one out. It was a double play ball, but instead of going around the horn trying to turn 2, they get the runner from third, Coughlin. So Pilar is at first on the fielder's choice.
And I think that's a mistake by the third baseman here. If you go second to first, that's a double play ball. He comes home, and now you've got to apply a tag to Coughlin. Anytime as a third baseman, generally if the ball's hit at you or to your left, you go ahead and turn it. 5-4-3. Travis Shaw made a mistake there, and now Jimmy Nelson's still not quite off the hook.
Ezekiel Carrera hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. Biagini's at second. Pilar's at first. There are 2 outs. This is a real challenge for the third base coach, Luis Rivera. He's got a pitcher running from second with 2 outs, trying to get another run, and he's got to make a quick decision as to whether or not to hold up Biagini or send him. Quite honestly, he doesn't know how he runs. Oh, 0-2 now.
So tough on a third base coach because there are so many variables involved. And the first variable is that guy right there. How does he run? What kind of jump is he going to get? And Rivera's got to account for the arm in the outfield wherever the ball's hit. How hard is the ball hit? And the last thing you want to do is send your pitcher and have him sliding in and get tagged out at home to end the inning.
Well, it doesn't matter as Carrera strikes out, but the Blue Jays scored 2 runs as they break through on top and stake Joe Biagini, who helped himself with an RBI.
There's one thing the Blue Jay fans have learned about Joe Biagini. It's to expect the unexpected in his mannerisms and his expressions, and yeah, even at the plate, knocking in RBIs. But one thing about Biagini is when it comes to competition, he is dialed in. About 40 minutes before the opening pitch, Biagini sits by himself, hoodie up, face down in his own world. It's what he calls a technique that calms him down, and finds that by doing so, he reminds himself everything will be okay. I focus in and do visualization and pray a little bit, Biagini told me. It reminds me of what my perspective needs to be, what I need to focus on, and mentally be ready to play a baseball game. He goes over his keys before every one of those games with that hood up over his head, and that, he says, gets him in the right mindset.
Well, you're right on the money, Rash, and you know what? He has a very interesting personality, but you put him on the mound, I'll take him any day. He is out there to compete every single day. Domingo Santana, the right fielder, cuts on the first pitch and bounces it past Bautista. Santana, over his last 18 games, has hit .375. Joe Biagini actually worked an inning against the Brewers back in April 11th at Rogers Center. He faced Broxton, Braun, Shaw, and Santana struck out looking in his only inning. Biagini threw 23 pitches in that inning, so the Brewers don't know an awful lot about him. One and two now.
It's a good spot with that cut fastball that he throws. That's a bigger one, almost like a slider, but I like the fact that Russ Martin is set up out there. You're trying to get the hitter to chase. If he doesn't, that's where you want to miss off the plate.
Curveball, 79 miles an hour, and Santana fouls it off. You know, we talk about the benefits for all of these pitchers to be working with a guy like Russell Martin, but boy, it's really important when you're a young pitcher like Joe Biagini.
And especially making this transition from the bullpen to the starting rotation, and after his struggle in his last outing.
Here down to Mike Winters. He's the crew chief working at first base tonight.
Joe's constantly reminding himself when he taps his chest of his posture and his core and where he wants to be over the pitching rubber with his balance. Very cerebral on the mound.
Pulls that one off the plate outside. It's a full count. He went from 0-2 to 3-2.
So a lot of what Arash was just talking about right there with that visualization. Oftentimes pitchers will have a certain key that they want to make sure that they accomplish to execute a pitch. On the curveball, I got to make sure I get out front. The changeup, really reach out and pull down.
All right, loses him after being ahead 0-2. He walks him to lead off the inning.
So as a starter, Biagini's been averaging over 94 miles per hour with the fastball. Uses it about half the time. Then he's also got the curveball, cutter, and changeup. And he calls it a cutter. Sometimes, as we said, it looks like a slider. But all very good pitches, and he's really increased his changeup usage as a starting pitcher. We didn't see that many from him out of the bullpen, but it's been a very good pitch for him, and he's been very successful. There's one thing coming out of spring training. He wanted to be better this year against left-handed batters than he was last year, and that changeup's been a great weapon to accomplish that.
The center fielder is Hernan Perez. He goes after the first pitch, and that's going to be behind the Blue Jays dugout out of play. Boy, there are a lot of Blue Jay fans here in Milwaukee, and that has been the case most everywhere they travel, but it seems like a big turnout here once again as the Blue Jay fans show up no matter where the team is playing. Martin asked for time after giving Biagini the signal. I'm not sure if Russell trusted that Joe saw the pitch he called.
Sometimes you go through those signs so quickly and the pitcher acknowledges, but you weren't done yet. That's when you got to put on the brakes and say, let's reboot here.
You just talked about the pitch usage for Biagini, his fastball about 50% of the time. Would you like to see him use his fastball a little more than that?
I would, and it's interesting you asked that because he's got a good arm and it's a deceptive fastball. We've seen him out of the bullpen up to 95 miles per hour, but hitters constantly late on that pitch.
You know, as a catcher, I used to come into a game, and if a pitcher had a good fastball, you just throw it until they start hitting it. And you might not go to your secondary pitches 2-3 innings into a game if you were having success.
Goes back to that fastball command again. If you put the one down a lot early, you can get through a lineup sometimes without showing them any other pitches.
Line to the shortstop. Goins won't make a throw to first as Perez lines out. But oftentimes, especially if you have a pitcher like Biagini who's got 4 quality pitches, and you go into a game and you're using your fastball in and out, up and down, in and out, up and down, you're getting outs. Now you get into a jam, you've got the curveball, cutter, and changeup they haven't even seen yet. So it really gives the pitcher an advantage.
And you like to mix them in maybe at times just so that he has felt them and he's got that muscle memory for when you do need to execute that real good one, whether it's the 3rd or 4th inning or that second time through the lineup.
That's a good point as well. Manny Pena, the catcher. Pena's got a little power, 8 doubles, 12 home runs so far. They have basically a 2-man catching staff here. Jet Bandy and Pena alternate. They have split the time just about 50-50 so far this season. 21st start of the season for Pena. Ground ball. Bautista makes a nice play. Second for one, back to first. How about that? Jose Bautista. Who says you need to play the third to be good? What a nice double play started by Jose at third. His first start since April of 2013. What base hit? How about a double play? Bautista to Travis to Morales. End of the inning.
Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ0323 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Code must be entered by 4 a.m. and there will be a new code tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Arash. Buck Martinez along with Joe Siddle and Arash Madani here in Milwaukee. First game of a very short 2-game series. Tomorrow's game is a very early start, so make sure you check it out. The game time is 12:10 local time. The pregame show will be at 11:30 local time. That's 12:30 Eastern time. That's Jamie and Greg at the pregame show. Anyways, Jose Bautista, what a nice play he made to start the double play.
You said it. Who says you have to play third base very often to make plays like that? But he took a base hit out of left field from Manny Pena.
Bautista had a ringing single his first time up, and Took a home run cut there.
He took a big cut. We saw him tee off in a first pitch fastball from Jimmy Nelson in his first at bat. This time it looked like he may have been sitting on the breaker and got it. He just came up empty.
We mentioned the Blue Jays have 2 wins in their last 15 games in this ballpark. Jose hit one of 6 home runs the Blue Jays hit back in 2012 to win that game 10-9. Bautista and Colby Rasmus hit home runs in the top of the 9th to give the Blue Jays that win. But wins have been few and far between here. Two balls, 2 strikes. Protects that plate. The Blue Jays lost 11 in a row from September 17th, 96 to June 18th, 2012. Just couldn't do anything to win a game here in interleague play. Full count.
That to me right there is the case. Jimmy Nelson threw all breaking balls here to get to that 2-2 count. Then he missed with that fastball down, but that's just a case of trying to overthrow the baseball right there. He knows that Bautista got him in that first at bat in the first inning on the fastball. Doesn't want it to happen again.
That's bounced off home. Shortstop Garcia makes a nice play. 1 away.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the Brewers, they actually got their beginning in 1969 as the Seattle Pilots. The Pilots, an expansion team, one of 4 expansion teams in '69, lasted just 1 year in Seattle. Then they moved here and became the Milwaukee Brewers.
And what years were you a Brewer?
77 through 81.
You loved it here, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great. Great people. Good part of the country. And we had a great team. Obviously, Division Series, 82, they went to the World Series, lost to the Cardinals. I went from here to Toronto in May of 81. But so many good players. Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, 2 Hall of Famers. Larry Heisel, Sal Bando, Cecil Cooper.
Saw you reuniting with Bob Uecker today.
He might have been the best of all of us. Uke. He was a iconic broadcaster, still is, of course. Does the radio for the Brewers. 50 years of baseball. And there he is. Bob Uecker. What a terrific broadcaster. He was a good player. He was a catcher for the Cardinals and the Braves. There's a deep drive to center. Perez is on the track. He's got room. He makes the catch. Morales flies out 2 away. Well, when you get to the start of the season, everybody wants prognostications. Tell me who's going to win. Everybody said, well, it's going to be the Cubs again, of course. But look what Craig Counsell's Brewers have done so far. They're off to a great start.
Yeah, and when Craig met with the media today, he's very reserved. He's just taking it as it goes right here. And I think a couple of things that he has to look forward to is he's been without Ryan Braun, just came back off the disabled list. Eric Thames has been hindered with that leg really for the last few weeks. And his opening day starting pitcher.
This is a high pop-up right side of the infield. VR waits for it, and he makes the catch, and the Blue Jays go quietly. 3 up, 3 down in the 3rd, and the first place Milwaukee Brewers will bat when we come back. They trail by 2. 14-6 at home this season. If it wasn't for the Houston Astros, who had them to a 1-3 record, they would have a much better record at home. But Brett Gardner has 9 home runs in his last 21 games, and tonight, along with Chris Carter, Aaron Hicks has come up with a big home run. How about Chris Carter hitting 9th in the Yankee lineup? Orlando Arcia grounds out to his counterpart Ryan Goins. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Yeah, you know you got a pretty good lineup when the former National League home run champ bats 9th in your lineup. Aaron Judge doing a terrific job in his first full season, batting .313. Didi Gregorius .326. Starlin Castro .339. Pretty good lineup. Here is the pitcher, Jimmy Nelson. He has a hit in 15 official at bats. Tell you what, he's big enough to hit, Joe. He's 6'6" and weighs 245.
He's a big man out on that mound too, and you can see when he is going good how dominant he can be, and he's been excellent his last 3 starts. He's hit a little blip in the radar here tonight against the Blue Jays.
Nelson comes by his size honestly. His father played football at University of Florida and ran track. He was a discus thrower and a shot putter. And his mom played basketball at Florida State. So I don't want to be around that household when they play football against each other.
How's that gene pool?
Jimmy himself went to University of Alabama just so he didn't have to pick between Florida or Florida State.
Wonder who helped him choose, mom or dad.
Little tapper back to Biagini. He'll take his time and throws out Jimmy Nelson, 2 outs. Well, you know, one thing we know about Joe Biagini, and he's got a very short memory. After that 6-run first inning, he settled down and retired the next 12 batters he faced, and he has been able to get off to a good start here tonight.
Well, he certainly made some adjustments, and we saw one just before the game tonight where Joe started his flat ground throwing and long tossing. It seemed like both were a little abbreviated. Then when he got on the mound, you mentioned it earlier, he threw for 4 minutes on the bullpen mound. What's he trying to do? He's trying to simulate more like a bullpen appearance that he's making here in the first inning as a starter.
Yeah, it's pretty heady because he went out there, and when he took the mound, he only warmed up for 4 minutes. And that's probably what you would do as a reliever. You'd stand by, you'd listen to your pitching coach, say, okay, get ready, tell Biagini to get hot. He's got 2 batters away, or his, so he'll throw a few pitches, and boom, you're into the game. And that's one thing Pete Walker wanted to emphasize to Biagini was, hey, don't change anything. Don't think that you got to mope around the clubhouse on the days you're going to start and think about all the pressure of starting. Just be yourself. BR pulls it on the ground. Travis to his left and throws him out. Good inning for Joe Biagini. 3 up, 3 down. We've played 3 innings here in Milwaukee, and the Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead.
The latest finger issue that put him on the DL was a blood blister that started to grow when his fingernail first split, which happened after he had the surgery to prevent the original blister from reoccurring. Now, if you followed all of that, it leaves Sanchez at this point not throwing, period. Not flat ground, not catch, nothing at all, no bullpens, and it's deemed when the entire finger issue is solved and without the threat of bothering him again, then he'll get back to throwing. So timeline, Aaron says, I couldn't tell you, but he added, I'm not going to do anything to rush it again to hamper things long term.
Probably the best approach you could possibly take. You got to make sure you're healthy, and you know, it sounds like such a nuisance injury, but that's the last point of contact with the baseball for a pitcher. That's everything.
Well, it's so frustrating for Aaron because if this is something that happened at the end of the season, you've got an entire offseason to rest it, but that is not the case this time, and he's frustrated because it's not the nail this time, it's more in the fingertip.
Russell Martin also had a clean single to right his first time up. He scored the second Blue Jays run. He scored on the fielder's choice by the pitcher Joe Biagini. That's a fair ball. Shaw takes his time. It's off line, but Thames makes the tag. One out. Let's check here with Jamie Campbell. Cleveland really hasn't been swinging the bats all that well, and as far as coming up with big hits, Edwin's starting to heat up a little bit. You look at the Indians lineup, a lot of guys in that lineup are scuffling, and Encarnacion batting .212 as we speak. But they'll get it going. They've got too good a hitting lineup. Chris Coghlan, the left fielder. Coghlan walked his first time up. Of course, in interleague play, you've got to sit one of your big bats, and Justin Smoke on the bench to start this game, and that's a hot bat to have out of the lineup for John Gibbons. But he said he was going to alternate in these two National League cities, Atlanta and Milwaukee, and start Smoke one game and Morales the next. When you compare the two and you look at their last dozen or so games, Morales hitting .214, Smoke hitting .353. But Gibbons staying true to his word, starts Morales tonight. Smoke has to wait his turn.
That'd be so tough for Gibby to keep Smoke out of the lineup right now, and he did say he was going to split time with both of them. But boy, has he ever been swinging a hot bat. We may see him before the evening is over.
Well, if he has a chance in an RBI situation, you can bet he'll be the first one off the bench.
Now, he said Kendrys Morales has played some right field, but Gibby said he did not want to do that and mess with that hamstring issue that he had the last couple of weeks. But to leave a big bat, that's a tough decision for a manager, but that's what the National League game does. It offers those other opportunities, and I think Kendrys Morales is a guy that's going to get heating up too. He's got a proven track record, and I think that'll come in very big, especially playing in the AL East.
Nelson takes too long for Coghlan's liking. He asks for time. It's a 2-2 count, one out in the fourth. Downstairs, Nelson thought it might have been a strike.
Well, that's where you want to live as a pitcher, right down there at the bottom of the zone. An excellent pitch by Nelson. If you're going to miss, be down there. He just didn't get the call that time.
Jimmy Nelson moved into the rotation in 2014, about mid-season. In fact, he took the rotation spot of Marco Estrada. Estrada started a game on Canada Day at Rogers Center in 2014, made one more start, and then he was taken out of the rotation in favor of Jimmy Nelson. It's a good break for the Blue Jays. Ground ball, VR, right at the edge of the grass. Two-way.
The all-new 2017 CRV. With revamped cargo space, it's the biggest fan yet. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Bernie Brewer, he's got a lot of things going on in this ballpark, and he, of course, is the mascot for this Milwaukee Brewers ball club. Whenever they get a home run, Bergie's dug out, he pops out of there and slides down that slide. This ballpark opened up in 2001. It is a retractable roof stadium, and it is a nice ballpark. Good for everybody involved.
They say that the ball travels well in the summer here when the roof is open and the warm air takes place, but I think the way this team's been swinging the bats, there's going to be a lot of balls leaving this ballpark whether that roof is open or closed.
The Brewers are first in home runs. They have 66 home runs. They are second in runs batted in with 224, and they're a good hitting ball club. The Brewers have won 9 of their last 12 home games. They have scored 84 runs in their last 13 games. Goins batting with 2 outs. This is where the number 8 spot really becomes important with the pitcher hitting behind you. You'd love to get on base with 2 outs and get his at bat out of the way.
As a hitter, you want to get on base any way you can to roll that lineup over, but as a pitcher, this is the guy you want. So if you're an 8 hitter, you're looking for some fastballs to hit. This is a good place to be for Ryan Goins.
Takes one right on the corner. Ryan has interesting splits, as we mentioned, hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position. He had an RBI single his first time up. Full count. For Goins, it seems as though his focus is much keener when he's got men on base, batting .262 with runners on. Just .147 with nobody on. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Drill to the alley. That's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. Goins is headed for second, and he'll get there standing up with a 2-out double. 4th double of the season for Goins. He's 2 for 2 so far.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that too, because is it a mindset? Are you trying harder when there's runners in scoring position? I think not. I don't think a hitter is going to be extra motivated because there's runners on. Now, are you motivated? Absolutely. But Ryan's been going through such a tough stretch right now. He's trying to get hits any way that he can. And as I said earlier in this at bat, you go up here looking for the fastballs, and Jimmy Nelson kept throwing them. Finally left this one on the plate, and he was able to tee it up.
Well, he did accomplish what he wanted. He got Joe Biagini to the plate with 2 outs. Joe had an RBI fielder's choice in the second. Pretty tough pitch to take.
I think Joe got a bit of a favor right there. The catcher, Manny Pena, did not do a very good job receiving that pitch. As soon as you turn your palm up and allow that ball to take your glove to the ground, you're probably not going to get the call. And he did not.
Biagini, that's a fair ball. He's tagged out by the catcher, and that'll end the inning. Ryan Goins gets a 2-out double, but he's stranded at second. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. The Jays up 2-0.
lot to do with what he did there away from the field. See, Thames would study at-bats from big leaguers like Barry Bonds on YouTube, and what stood out to him was how to stay aggressive, yet remain patient. He's trying to do the same now. How? I have no idea, he admitted. I'm trying to figure it out, but he has discovered when it's going well for him, his swing isn't uphill, which is when he misses the barrel. Thames admits the journey has been wild. I'm so thankful to be back here, he said. I never thought I'd make it back here. And Buck, he said, it took a lot of study, a lot of mental visualization, and meditating.
Well, he was in a good spot. He was in South Korea. He was basically by himself, so he had plenty of time on his hands, and he put it to good use. And you're right, he didn't expect to come back. Probably go over there. And he told me when they were in Toronto early in April, he said, you know, I just needed a change of scenery, and it presented itself. And then I got a few calls. Milwaukee called, a couple of other teams called, and all of a sudden I thought, man, I got a chance to go back to the big leagues. And he's off to a great start. You know, Eric early on with the Blue Jays, we mentioned he played 141 games with the Jays, and there was a lot of swing and miss in his games, but you could see he had power. But now he's refined his approach quite a bit at home plate. Hits that ball in the air. Coughlin in front of the scoreboard, and left makes the catch. One away.
And I think a lot of that too is we talked about Kevin Pillar in this vein a lot this season too, Buck, is that when hitters look at a location throughout the course of an at-bat, they can react, whether it's a fastball or a breaking ball or anything off speed. And I think that's really helped Thames as well. He might look middle away, he might look middle in, and that ball right there looked like he hit pretty well. So if you're looking out over there, whether it's an off-speed pitch or a fastball, you know that you're staying on it. And he felt a very disciplined approach in that regard has helped him make harder contact.
Well, so often when young players like Pillar and Thames come to the big leagues, they want to make an impression. They try to hit everything. Well, it's impossible to hit everything. It's hard enough to hit good pitches. This is Ryan Braun. He grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. Braun's made a nice play on Braun. We mentioned Braun now 33 years old. He came to the Brewers in 2007. Was the Rookie of the Year. He's also been the National League MVP. He was the MVP for the Brewers in 2011 when he hit .332 and he slugged .597. 38 doubles, 33 homers, and 6 triples. Well, that's a nice delivery of that curveball. Very patient with that delivery.
It's a big break. It's not quite 12-6, but it's got a lot of north-south to that pitch, a lot of depth to it. And that curveball is a type of pitch that's very difficult to keep in the strike zone because there's so much depth to it.
Another reason you don't see as many curveballs is because the strike zone has gotten shorter. Years ago, when the umpires used those outside chest protectors, the big balloon chest protectors, they were more upright, and the upper levels of the strike zone was about letter high. And then guys could throw that big curveball, and it would get called for a strike. No longer the case. Braun fouls it up. Braun is in his 11th season in the big leagues. As we mentioned, he has been Rookie of the Year, MVP. He's a 5-time Silver Slugger and a 6-time All-Star.
It's just a different lineup when he's in there. That's what Craig Counsell said today. We're getting him back now, hopefully on a healthy basis. If Eric Thames can be healed of his leg injuries, and I mentioned earlier, Junior Guerra, their opening day starter, was out 3 innings into the season. He strained his calf on a bunt attempt when he was running the bases, so he should be back this week.
Guerra was out running the bases today during batting practice just to recreate that situation in which he injured himself. So it's a full count to Ryan Braun. Travis Shaw is on deck. Throw him a breaking ball and walks him. WestJet is going big on trips to Vegas with the most flights from Canada. Take a swing at your WestJet Vegas surprise and book now for the whole team at westjet.com/Vegas. Kind of curious, they threw a breaking ball to Braun to walk him with one out. Walked him on a 3-2 hook.
A lot of off-speed pitches to Braun that at bat, only a couple of fastballs, and you just wonder if that's the book on him. That's the way that the Blue Jays are attacking the Brewers slugger.
Travis goes after the first pitch, and Travis Shaw fouls it into the second deck. Shaw struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. Eugenie beat him with that fastball.
Joe will pound the ball down in the zone. We talked about that two-seam fastball, but he'll also elevate. Watch the target from Russ Martin right here. He wants this ball elevated, and Joe did a pretty nice job. Didn't quite get it as high as he wanted to, but if you can get that ball just above the belt, it's a tough pitch to get to for hitters when it's 94, 95 miles per hour.
Missed with that curveball, broke all the way across the plate inside. 1-2 now.
It's great for a pitcher to pound the zone at the bottom of the zone because those are the toughest pitches to hit. But we've seen it, and you're seeing it more and more around baseball now. We see it a lot with the Tampa Bay Rays. They pitch that way. They elevate that fastball just above the belt, get a lot of pop-ups, a lot of fly balls, not hard contact.
Looked like the cutter inside as he was able to jam Shaw once again. Mentioned Travis Shaw has faced Biagini. He's now 1 for 8 going up against Joe. He's trying to extend his personal hit streak to 12 straight.
It's like Russ wants that fastball up and in again.
Too high.
Problem arises when Russ has a game plan, but when you don't execute a pitch, it's hard to continue with the pitch sequences that you were thinking. Russ is thinking 1 and 2 and 3 pitches ahead, but when you don't execute a pitch, you got to kind of go to plan B. Now he's going back to the cutter.
And he got him. Boy, that is a hard breaking ball, and it's got a little more break than you would think from a normal cutter, but it's very effective.
I think a lot of people, including us, Buck, we would call it a slider if we didn't know Joe, but we know talking to Biagini, he calls it a cutter. Sometimes it's a little tighter. This one got a little bit bigger, not too big, but it froze Travis Shaw because he had been seeing a couple of those four-seamers up in the zone, and when you do that and then you just come off of that a bit, as a hitter, you just give up on it, and that just froze Shaw. Pretty good hitter.
2 outs. Domingo Santana drew a walk in the second inning. It was a leadoff walk. On the ground, Bautista takes his time at third, in plenty of time across the diamond. We've played 4 in Milwaukee. The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. He's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
mobile app. You can stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. And Buck, if you do this weekend, John Gibbons says expect Troy Tulowitzki and Josh Donaldson to return against the Texas Rangers.
Now that is good news, and tonight they are both playing in Florida for the Dunedin Blue Jays, and Donaldson is 2 for 3 with an RBI. Tulowitzki is 1 for 4 with a home run. So they'll have a chance to play Wednesday and Thursday, you would think. Maybe just Wednesday, get on a plane Thursday and meet the Blue Jays for that Friday opener against Texas. It's really unfortunate that they could not play in this series, as both of them have combined to hit well here against the Brewers. Pilar hits it sky high into center, and Perez makes the out. Tulowitzki and Donaldson have combined to hit .378 with 5 homers and 19 RBIs here at Miller Park.
That would have come in handy for a couple of days, wouldn't it?
Would have been nice.
John Gibbons continues to battle. It's one after another, and you know, he's got the best demeanor for dealing with these issues. He just says, hey, we've got to keep moving on. Nobody in this game is going to feel sorry for him. We've seen that around all of baseball with the injuries sky high.
Carrera drops a bunt down, but it's foul. The Blue Jays coming into action tonight 19-26, but the good news is they're only 8.5 back. They're in last place. Got a lot of teams to leapfrog, but at the same time, you know, you've got a lot of games to play. And the hope is that once you get Tulowitzki and Donaldson back, that they stay in the lineup the rest of the season. That's what you would like. Of course, we heard about Sanchez. Liriano, all reports in his simulated game here today were positive. He could make a rehab start possibly in AAA Buffalo on Sunday. Jay Happ is progressing well in Florida. So you just keep plugging away, and guys keep coming up with big hits. Tonight, Goins and Biagini have the RBIs. Liriano got in a good session today in a simulated game. I think he simulated a no-hitter.
Love those sim games.
Well, they need him back. They need everybody back. They need Happ back. They need Tulo and JD back, and they need Sanchez back.
Buy 6 cans of Beauty Tone paint and get the 7th free. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts.
Miller Park, and they've got some food in this ballpark. I can vouch for that. Bratwurst, sausages, lots of great food, and of course they have a lot of good beer here in Milwaukee. And Bautista has his 2nd hit. Another sharp single to left, both coming on the first pitch of his at-bats.
Both first pitches, both fastballs, and both on the inner half of the plate. Jose clearly looking to do damage middle in, and again he hits this ball on a line. Nelson's lucky he did not elevate it.
Bautista's hitting .400 over his last 13 games. That's the good news. Kendrys Morales batting with 2 outs. Blue Jays have 7 hits, 6 singles, and the Goins double. Jimmy Nelson, the starter for Milwaukee. First time through the order, he's held the opponents to a .194 average, and the second and third time, not so good. 315, 306, and this is the 3rd at bat for Kendrys Morales.
Especially for a veteran lineup. Get a couple of looks at him. What veteran hitters do, and Kendrys is a perfect example of that, is each at bat you gather data and information, what that sinker is doing. Did he like to come in with it? Did he go away with it? What type of break is on the slider as opposed to the curveball? What are you seeing spin-wise? And each at-bat can help by that third time around. Seeing the ball very well.
This ball is smoked to center, and it's gonna go. Get up, ball, gone. Long home run for Kendrys Morales to dead center. Home run number 8. A 2-run shot with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Well, that is exactly what we're talking about right there. And this was just a bad pitch by Nelson. He left a fastball up and out over the plate. Kendrys had seen plenty of fastballs. He was sinking him, trying to go down in the zone. Did not get it down there. When that sinker elevates, it flattens out. And in the low 90s, Kendrys was all over that pitch.
Well, we mentioned the second and third time through the order were not very good for Jimmy Nelson, and Morales comes through. Jose Bautista scores. He has his second hit of the night. And for Morales, home run number 8, RBIs 24 and 25.
Well, fastball tailed a bit, but you see a lot of times a pitcher's sinker will move on a lateral or horizontal plane, just stay on the same plane as the hitter's swing. What pitchers want in that 2-seam fastball is the ball to sink down. They need downward movement so that the hitter hits the top of the baseball. Kendrys drove this ball, and there was no doubt about it. Perez in center just watched it ricochet off the wall.
Devin Travis has extended his hit streak to 8 straight games. Singleton scored in the second. Popped out in the third. Once again, John Gibbons rolling the dice, coming up big time. Morales starts, comes up with a 2-run home run. But both Morales and Smoke have been delivering big hits. It's popped up down the right side, and that's going to drift into the seats out of play. Home runs have really become prominent in the Blue Jays attack. That home run by Morales, the 32nd home run the Jays have hit in 21 games this month. Another foul into the seats. May has been very good to the Blue Jays. They have the 3rd highest winning percentage in May from 2014 to the present. Coming into this game, 61 and 47. Travis called out on strikes. That ends the inning, but a 2-out rally. Jose Bautista singled the left with 2 outs. Then Kendrys Morales goes deep to center. His 8th home run of the season gives him 25 ribbies, and the Blue Jays a 4-0 lead. Milwaukee, and Joe Biagini is enjoying a 4-0 lead as he's set to start the bottom half of the fifth. Biagini himself drove in a run, part of a 2-run second inning. Kendrys Morales a 2-run, a home run, and Biagini delivers a first pitch strike. Perez, the center fielder, there's a base hit to left. Coughlin will get over and cut it off. Leadoff single for Perez. He lined out to the shortstop his first time up. He's hit the ball hard twice so far.
Looked like a cut fastball that got a lot of the plate. Russ wanted that ball out in the other half. Stayed more middle, and Perez put a good swing on it.
Catcher Manny Pena grounded into a double play. A terrific play by Bautista at third base. Looked like it had a chance to get past the third baseman into left field, but Jose stretched, gloved it, and started a 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. Jose started at third, in case you're just joining us, first start of the season at third base. We mentioned earlier that Josh Donaldson and Troy Tulowitzki are playing for Dunedin tonight down in Florida. Donaldson 2 for 3 so far. Tulowitzki 1 for 4 with a home run. And the speculation is that they will join the Blue Jays in time to start the series on Friday. That would be good news.
Once in a while, Joe will still miss up with that fastball, and that's one of the fastballs that Russ did not want up in the zone, but he just didn't quite finish it. Ball got away from him, and those are the ones he was talking about. They were giving him trouble in his last few starts early in the ball game.
Ground ball up the middle. That'll sneak through for a base hit. So back-to-back singles here in the bottom of the fifth. And this is where it gets interesting in a National League game. You have to keep your eye on that pitcher's spot.
Well, Manny Pena with another nice swing here, and Craig Counsell talked about it. You talked about it earlier. The combination of Pena with Jet Bandy and what these catchers have provided, they've been an excellent tandem together, especially offensively. And now you've got RC up with the 2 runners on and the pitcher on deck, but he is going to somehow try to move runners.
The bullpen is throwing, and Arcia is at the plate. He takes a first pitch strike.
Craig
Jesus
Counsell.
Aguilar has already come out on deck for the Brewers to bat for Jimmy Nelson.
Craig Counsell knows it's only the 5th inning, but his team is down 4-0, so he needs all the offense he can get right here. So that'll force him as a manager to go to the bullpen.
Curveball stayed inside. Big swing and a miss. Biagini's ahead 1-2. That's Rob Biagini, Joe's father. Not
looks
quite as relaxed as he was earlier.
He looks concerned, doesn't he?
That's a great shot. If that doesn't capture a father enjoying his son's baseball, huh?
So different than Little League. He wants to watch, but he doesn't want to watch.
Ground ball. It's up the middle. They're going to wave the runner around third. Perez comes in to score, and the Brewers are on the board. 3 straight singles here in the 5th. Garcia with his 17th RBI drives home Hernan Perez.
Well, this is the Milwaukee Brewers right here. They will continue to pound you. Few hard hit balls this inning. Not a lot of damage yet, but this is where Joe Biagini is going to have to bear down. And as a pitcher, you have to limit the damage in an inning like this. It's all about damage control. If they get 1 or 2, that's okay. They're back in the game, but you cannot allow this to lead to a big inning where the Brewers put up a 4 or 5 spot.
Again, Biagini's spot in the batting order is 4th in the top of the 6th, so that factors in as well. No one is throwing for the Blue Jays, but the relievers are up and stretching out in their bullpen in right field. So now it looks like they're going to get somebody going. Maybe not just yet.
One thing Joe does very well is he gets ground balls, and unfortunately a couple of them have found holes this inning, but he's 1 pitch away from getting a couple of outs, and that's the mentality you have to have right here.
Jesus Aguilar pinch hitting, and he has had a productive season coming off the bench. He's 5 for 19 with a homer and 5 RBIs. He leads the Brewers in pinch hit RBIs with 5. Of course, the difference in the at-bats for the Brewers, this is the 69th pinch hit at-bat for Milwaukee. Blue Jays have just 40. Upstairs, couple of pitches up. That's when Biagini ran into problems last time out. That fastball got away from him upstairs.
And especially at this point in the ball game right here with a couple runners on, the ground ball I'm talking about is going to come from a fastball down in the zone, not up there.
Another strike, but it's upstairs still. Blue Jays pen now just starting to get going. Danny Barnes starting to loosen up with that big weighted ball. He hasn't grabbed a baseball just yet. Fifth inning, the Brewers pinch hitting here. 3 consecutive singles, nobody out. Breaking ball pulled foul.
Biagini continuing to try to build that pitch count up. 67 pitches in that last outing in Atlanta. And when you transition to the rotation, the one thing that can happen is fatigue can set in a little bit earlier until he builds that count up. Now the issue here with Joe, I'm not so sure it's fatigue as much as just the inconsistency. We talked earlier, he's had trouble in the first inning with the ball up, so I don't think it's that, but he's going to have to from this point on really battle because he's starting to enter that zone where he's building on the number of pitches that he's throwing.
Ground ball, not sharply hit. Goins will bare hand and throw in time. Well, what a fine play by Goins to bare-hand it. It was a jam job, and Aguilar didn't hit it hard enough for Goins to use his glove, and all they could get is the runner at first.
Well, that is about as good a fastball as you're going to throw in on someone's hands. Unfortunately, not hit hard enough for a double play. If he hits it a little bit harder, it probably is a 6-4-3 double play with Aguilar running. But nonetheless, a very good pitch, good sinking action in on the hands of the right-handed hitter.
So now the infield will play back. The Blue Jays have a 3-run lead. Jonathan Villar has gone 0 for 2 so far. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Again, the conversations between the bench coach DeMarlo Hale and manager John Gibbons, where they are in the lineup, whether or not Barnes can be ready for Ryan Braun. That's his next assignment. .72 pitches now for Biagini. That's the most he's ever thrown in a major league game.
Start to enter that territory now, and you're also asking him to make his best pitches of the night right here. Russ Martin knows that he has the open base. Don't want a hitter to get something out over the plate, something that they can drive to the outfield to easily cash in a run.
Curveball, base hit. Pena's in to score, and here comes Arcia right behind him. 3 runs for Milwaukee here in the 5th, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game. That curveball came right into the barrel of Villar.
Well, the middle of the Blue Jays infield was back, so you want to get a ground ball, and you'll trade a ground ball for a run right there. But unfortunately, this ground ball found a hole into right field to cash in 2 runs, and the Brewers are now within 1.
And Villar's a threat to run at first. There's that curveball, and both runners come in. Pena, the catcher, and Arcia from second. 3 runs on 4 hits this inning. We mentioned Villar. He has 9 stolen bases, been caught just 3 times. And the dangerous Eric Thames. Villar's on the move. Martin's throw is not in time. 10th stolen base for Jonathan Villar.
Well, Russ did not get a very good pitch to throw on. Anytime a pitch is down in the zone like that, good jump by Villar, but Russ had to go down and really try to rush his throw. There's no way you're throwing out a good base stealer. So this ball takes you down, and you have to just wait that extra split second. And Russ, I think, they're just showing a little frustration that he didn't get a good pitch to throw on.
Well, Villar got a tremendous jump, and then a combination of a good jump and that tough throw allows Villar to steal it. So he's in scoring position. That's the 39th stolen base for the Brewers. So you combine that with their home run power, they've got a multi-dimensional offense. Brian Braun is on deck. He's a right-handed hitter. So you don't have to be real aggressive with Thames. Changeup off the plate. 3-0 now. Milwaukee, an explosive ball club. And this rally started with the 6th spot in the order. Hernan Perez with a base hit to left. Ball 4. And here comes John Givens. He's going to make the switch right here. We had talked about Danny Barnes being ready for Ryan Braun, and that's the case. So Biagini can't get out of the 5th. He has allowed 3 runs to this point on 4 hits, and now he'll look to Danny Barnes to save these 2 runs and maintain this lead. Royals have a lead over the Yankees. This is Danny Barnes, who inherits 2 base runners, and Joe Barnes has done a terrific job stranding inherited base runners to this point.
Done a good job pitching in his 14th game, and Danny's only walked 4 and struck out 17. Opponents hitting .234 against him. Last pitched on Saturday at Baltimore. He did blow in the save, though, and got the loss as well. Just 2/3 of an inning, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. He had been very good, not one of his better outings at Camden Yards.
Barnes so far this season has stranded 7 of 8 inherited base runners, and Ryan Braun takes one upstairs for ball 1. Braun has grounded out and walked. Barnes making his first career appearance against Milwaukee. He's the first one up tonight for the Blue Jays. There go the runners. Martin's throw is a good one. Not in time. A double steal as VR takes off for third, and looked like he made a heck of a slide. The throw was a strong one, but just a bit late at third.
Well, you said a combination of power and speed with this club. You see VR getting a great jump off second base, and that's just a classic stolen base off the pitcher, catching Danny Barnes napping just a bit. Nice job sliding to the backside of that base, avoiding the tag of Jose Bautista. There's 3 stolen bases now against Russ Martin, and as catcher really didn't have a shot on any of them.
Pitcher's not giving him a chance, and now that will change the situation here. It's 2-0 to Braun. Second and third, the infield for the Blue Jays playing back up the middle. Morales at first is even with the bag. Changeup for a strike.
Danny's not overpowering. He'll be around 92 with the fastball, slider, and changeup. And the changeup is probably his best pitch. He's got a sneaky fastball that gets up on hitters quickly. See a lot of late swings, and he could really use a strikeout right here.
Braun is 0 for 6 since coming off the DL. Fooled on that changeup. This is a very good team. Remember, the Brewers are in first place in the National League Central. They're doing it on the strength of their offense.
They certainly are. You talked about the combination of power and speed. I think it's well distributed too, and that's what Craig Counsell talked about today. They're getting contributions from up and down, and especially having this guy back in the lineup, it has made a big difference for their offense. They score almost a run more per game with him in the lineup.
Well, you got to have your star players in the lineup, and having him out of the lineup certainly didn't help. And the Blue Jays are hopeful of getting 2 of their stars back in the lineup on Friday night. Donaldson and Tulowitzki. Still just 1 out. Runners at second and third. Struck him out. Oh, a big strikeout for Danny Barnes as he elevates that heater and strikes out Braun.
And that pitch is set up by the couple of changeups that Braun saw earlier. So you force him to look down at the off-speed stuff, and then you elevate the fastball to get him chasing. It's a tough pitch to lay off because it's up by your eyes. You see it so good, but just no way to catch up to that pitch. Nice job by Russ behind the plate, asking for it up there, but more importantly, his pitcher executing the pitch.
Travis Shaw has struck out twice tonight. Swinging in the first, looking in the fourth. VR with a big walk down third. Barnes did not notice him. Bautista tried to bluff him back. Bautista's off the bag, so VR can take a walking lead.
That's what this shift can do against a left-handed hitter. You bring everybody over. That has to be distracting to a pitcher. We saw against Marco Estrada the other day a runner go almost halfway down towards home.
Shaw reaches for that and fouls it into the seats. Well, I tell you what, Barnes is doing exactly what you want from your relief pitcher coming in the middle of an inning. He's pounding that strike zone. Change-ups and fastballs. Remember, the pitcher's spot is 4 spots away in the top of the 6th. fastball. What a job by Danny Barnes. He inherits 2 more base runners and strands them both. He is now allowed just 1 of 10 to come across and score. He strikes out Braun and gets Shaw to end the inning. The Blue Jays still have the lead. Jimmy Nelson, the starter, was lifted for the pinch hitter. He goes 5 innings, charged with 4 earned runs on 8 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 3. So Barnes is out of the game. He is in line for a loss. He cannot get the win, and the Brewers have gone to their bullpen.
And coming in from the bullpen, right-hander Rob Scahill, pitching just his 7th game, and in 10 1/3 innings, he's walked 4 and struck out 2. He last pitched on Sunday against the Cubs, pitched a couple of innings and just a double play ground out to the first batter he faced.
Well, you can't say enough about what Danny Barnes did, inheriting a couple of base runners, and then they pulled off a double steal. So it was 2nd and 3rd. He struck out Ryan Braun and then struck out Travis Shaw to end the inning. The Brewers scored 3. It's a 4-3 Blue Jays lead. Russell Martin leading things off, takes a strike. The Brewers won the first 2 games, both at Rogers Center this season back in April. Inside. Brewers won 4-3 and 2-0. Chase Anderson pitched a good game in that 2-0 ball game. Marcus Stroman was good as well. Russell Martin gets hit by the pitch and he'll go to first.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Get there fast, leave even faster.
Beautiful Miller Park, home of the Milwaukee Brewers. Russell Martin gets hit by a pitch to start the top half of the 6th inning. Martin's been on base twice. Chris Coghlan walked in the 2nd. He grounded out in the 4th. Unlike Danny Barnes, Scahill not able to find the strike zone.
Scahill will be up around 94 with the fastball, curveball, and slider to go with it. He is a ground ball pitcher, and that's what he'll be looking for right here off the bat of Coghlan.
You got to make him throw a strike. Justin Smoke getting loose on the Blue Jays bench. Pitcher spot 2 batters away. There's a strike, just barely. Scahill started with the Colorado Rockies. He spent parts of 3 seasons in Colorado. Then he spent part of the 15 season with the Pirates, 28 games in total. 16, he had 15 more games with Pittsburgh. He has been here in Milwaukee for the last 2 seasons. Good rip by Coghlan. Pulled to the first baseman. Thames makes a strong throw to second. Back to first. A nifty 3-6-3 double play, 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Orioles have fallen upon hard times. They have had a tough stretch. They had a 5-0 lead in last night's game, and Minnesota came back and won that game. Minnesota's 13-5 on the road. The Orioles now fall to 15-6 at home. The Twins have won 5 of 6, and the Orioles have lost 9 of 12. That's a foul ball. I tell you what, Joe, baseball, there are a lot of ups and downs all over both leagues. Teams get hot for a while, then cool off. I don't think anybody's in a runaway situation.
Not too many great teams. There really aren't. And I think especially we've seen it in the AL East. Of course, New York and Baltimore at the top right now, but it is a marathon season in baseball, and we've seen it a lot in the East. Teams just beat each other up, so there's a lot still to be decided.
Ryan Goins, a couple of hits so far, hits this one sharply. VR has it from the outfield. He throws him out. So after a shaky start, Rob Scahill gets out of it with the nice double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Blue Jays lead at 4-3. The sausage race. You can see the different varieties of sausage as they run around the warning track, and looks like the brat in the lederhosen is going to close him out. He's coming down the stretch. He's going to win by a nose, a big nose. Joe Biagini, the starter, much better than he fared last time out, but he ran into a little trouble in the 5th, could not get through the 5th inning. Goes 4 1/3. He's charged with 3 earned runs on 5 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3, and he threw a career-high 77 pitches. How do you assess his outing, Joe?
Well, I thought he was very good. He was cruising through that 4th inning. He had retired 10 of 12 batters, and really kind of got nickel and dime, some ground balls that found holes, and that's just a tough break for a ground ball pitcher. Sometimes they find holes. These ones did, and besides the line drive by Perez to lead off that inning, A lot of those balls could have been outs.
Domingo Santana has walked and grounded out. Santana, the right fielder. Danny Barnes with a terrific effort to close out the bottom of the fifth. He came into the game with runners at first and second, VR and Thames, and they took off double steal. Ended up at second and third with one out. And then Barnes struck out Braun on a high fastball and got Travis Shaw to strike out on a high heater as well. Strike three called. A fastball down and away. 3 straight strikeouts for Barnes since coming into the game.
Well, it's about location, 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 and this is an excellent fastball from Danny right out there on the outside corner at the knees, and I think Santana knew it. There's not a whole lot you can do with that as a hitter. We talked about how Danny's fastball is a little explosive. It's got that extra gear as it enters the mitt, but it's placed perfectly.
Hernan Perez, the center fielder, got things started with a leadoff single in the fifth. That was the first of 3 straight singles. And then Jonathan VR had a 2-run single to right. This is in the air. Shallow center field. Pilar calling for it. 2 away. Mentioned the Blue Jays split the first 2 games of this road trip in Atlanta. They lost 2 of 3 to the Orioles in Baltimore. They'd like to be able to win a couple here and have a little momentum going into their long homestand.
They were playing so well there for that stretch. They had won 5 in a row and 7 of 8 before Atlanta came to Toronto, and that's when things have kind of gone sideways here. They just really haven't put together a good string of baseball, had their pitching match their hitting, and that's where they're hoping to get back to when they start getting a couple players back.
I think that's the whole key. Get your whole team back, and then you can make a judgment as to what kind of ball club you have.
If you told me leaving spring training that John Gibbons would be without all of the players that he has played without in April and May, I wouldn't say they'd be 19 and 26. I would have thought it'd be a lot worse. So they're hanging in there, to say the least.
They've done a nice job of mixing and matching in their bullpen. And they've had great performances when you don't have the likes of Liriano, Sanchez, and Happ in your rotation. You've got to dig down deep into the organization. So fly ball deep to right, slicing away from Carrera, and it's a foul ball down in the corner.
And really through this stretch, you've asked players like Ryan Goins and Ezekiel Carrera and Darwin Barney to really be sprung into everyday duty, and these are part-time role players. Normally when you do that, you can get some good production and they can kind of fill that void, but you can't do it for too long. And of course, most of those hitters, they've all hit their stretches where they've scuffled offensively. Ryan, of course, had a good night tonight again, but he has to be wearing down. I asked him last week, how are you feeling? He said, oh, I'm fine, no problem, 100%. I know he's lying to me. He's not used to playing this much.
Josh Donaldson has not played since April 13th. Troy Tulowitzki hasn't played since April 21st, and these guys have done a terrific job. And I'll tell you, I feel great, and they're doing everything they can to maintain their stamina. Today, Ryan was out taking early batting practice, and it has paid off.
I'm sure he really enjoyed that day off yesterday.
Bautista knocks it down, gets to his feet, throws out the catcher. Jose looks like he's right at home at third base. He started a tough double play on Pena earlier in the game, and here he takes another hit away from the Brewers catcher. Jose making his first start at third base since 2013, like he never missed a beat.
contest. On any Tuesday, post a video or photo of you showing your Blue Jays spirit along with hashtag TD Tuesday and at Blue Jays to Twitter or Instagram. For details and rules, visit bluejays.com/TD contest. Buck.
Thank you very much, Arash. As you see, there are a lot of Blue Jay fans here in Miller Park having a good time. This is a good baseball town, and they're enjoying the fact that the Brewers are in first place. Milwaukee 25-19, a game and a half ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals in first place. Anthony Alford will pinch hit for the pitcher, Danny Barnes. Those are his numbers at AAA New Hampshire. 33 games, hitting .325. Cut fastball for strike one. Anthony, just 22 years old. Had his major league debut in Baltimore over the weekend. Made 2 starts in left field. Hits this ball high and deep to center. Get up, ball. That ball's off the wall. Anthony Alford is headed for second base with his first big league hit. It's a double. What an exciting time for a young man. His first pinch hit opportunity, and he gets his first big league hit.
Good for Anthony. It could not happen to a better young man, and he almost got this ball up and over that center field fence. Did not miss by much. Pitch up in the zone, looked like a hanging slider from Scahill. Put a good swing on it, and he thought maybe he got it at first, but clearly with that speed, you turn on the jets and he's got himself an easy double.
Pilar showing bunt, pulls the bat back. Boy, what a beautiful stride. Anthony Alford hits this ball to deep center and just breezes around first to second. Came within a couple of feet of getting his first big league home run. Pilar showed bunt on the first pitch. We mentioned that Pena will throw anywhere. So Alford scampered back quickly to second. 2-0 count on Kevin Pilar. He singled his first time up. Blue Jays have a 4-3 lead, trying to tack on some runs here. Alford breaks for third. What a good read by Anthony. Put the pressure on the shortstop, and he had to go to first. Good break by Anthony Alford to move up.
Well, there's a golden rule in baseball. When the ball's hit in front of you there, you do not go to third base. But it was a great read by Alford because the ball was chopped and it was not hit very hard. As soon as this ball hits the ground, Alford knows with his speed he's going to get there, and that's why it was such a great read. Not every base runner is standing on third base right now.
What an interesting player Alford is. Now he's at third. That will force the infield to come in. Even with the grass. Ezekiel Carrera popped it up on the infield. VR calling for it. Alford tagged, but he'll hold at third as Carrera pops out. It's been a long time since the Blue Jays have had a young prospect as athletic as Anthony Alford. And I know he's a young man, just really sinking his teeth into baseball, but boy, he's exciting to watch.
Former football player, played some college football down in Mississippi, started as a quarterback, then became a safety. I remember when I asked him in spring training which one he preferred, and he said, well, it was a lot better hitting people than being hit.
Jose Bautista 2 for 3 so far. Jose has ripped 2 singles on the first pitch of the at-bats. One in the first inning, one in the 5th inning. He grounded out in the 3rd. Nice block by the catcher.
Nice job by Pena here, and this is your job with the catcher with a runner on third base. Don't worry about catching the baseball. Get your body over in a position to make sure you block it and keep it in front of you. That was perfection right there by Pena on a very tough pitch.
Bautista 2 for 3, as we mentioned tonight. Took a wild swing at that high hitter. Now it's 2 balls and a strike. Jose, over his last 13 games, has 5 home runs and 13 RBIs. He is now 18 for 45 during that stretch. Checked his swing. Mike Winters at first, the crew chief. He agrees. 3-1 now. Morales is on deck. Anthony Alford at third. Ball 4. Bautista takes the walk. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Well, Kendrys Morales was brought to the Toronto Blue Jays to do exactly this. Hit the ball out of the park. He got a 2-1 fastball up in the zone from Jimmy Nelson. And there is no doubt about this one. Straight away center field. Kendrys will be able to help this club big time offensively. He had 30 home runs last year. That's playing half your games in Kansas City. Put the Blue Jays up 4-0 with that one. Brewers have tightened things up since.
And Brewers are going to make a pitching change as Scahill will be removed. It'll be number 59, Carlos Torres, coming on with Morales up. Runners at the corners. The Blue Jays have a lead.
Game? How about a VIP experience at Rogers Center? Well, Rogers wants you to submit your baseball dream at RogersCelebrates.com, and your baseball dream could come true. Buck, there's Ryan Goins studying a couple of his last at-bats, looking for any edge there.
So far, so good for Gogo. He's got a couple of hits tonight, and he's driven in a run. Blue Jays trying to hang on to this 1-run lead, trying to add to it right here in the top of the 7th. New pitcher for the Brewers, Carlos Torres, making his 24th appearance of the season.
Torres at ERA at 2.92. He's pitched 24 2/3 innings, 11 walks and 19 strikeouts. He last pitched on Friday at Chicago against the Cubs. Tossed a scoreless inning to earn the save. He's unscored upon over his last 7 outings.
Torres, drafted by the Chicago White Sox originally out of Kansas State University. Morales, as we mentioned, had a 2-run home run his last time up. That came with 2 outs in the 5th. He's got 2 aboard now. Anthony Alford, he is way out there. Bautista takes off for second, and he'll get there uncontested. Morales in the hole, 0-2.
Well, Torres will be around 94 with the fastball, curveball, and cutter, and he throws a lot of those cutters. We've seen 2 of them right there to Morales, and we'll see if he doesn't use the other side of the plate as well. Both of those bearing in on the hands of the left-handed hitter.
Bautista is credited with a stolen base, his 3rd of the season. So he moves himself into scoring position. A couple of big runs out there for the Blue Jays. Anthony Alford at 3rd, Jose Bautista at 2nd. Popped up, shallow left field. Braun is there. The inning is over. Blue Jays leave a couple, but a memorable at bat for Anthony Alford. A pinch hit double off the wall in center. His first big league hit comes here in the 7th as a Blue Jay.
On Sportsnet. Presented by the rugged Honda Pioneer Off-Road family. Your adventure begins here.
Beautiful Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Blue Jays have a 4-3 lead. Danny Barnes, a terrific outing. Now he'll turn things over to Ryan Tepera.
Excellent job by Barnes, and Ryan Tepera has been fantastic for John Gibbons and Pete Walker, pitching in his 20th game. He's walked 9 and struck out 26. Opponents hitting just 167 against Tepera. Pitched a scoreless inning Friday night at Baltimore in a 5-3 loss. That fastball will be up around 95 miles per hour. Slider, cutter, and changeup. He's got all 4.
Anthony Alford pinch hit for the pitcher, and he stays in the game in right field. So Tepera goes into the 2 spot in the order. Ezekiel Carrera, the starter in right, is out of the game. So Tepera will work to 8-9-1 for the Brewers. You mentioned Tepera. He's been on quite a roll. He hasn't allowed a run in his last 16 1/3. That's the longest active streak by a reliever in baseball. And everybody kind of looked to Tepera as the guy that needed to step up in the absence of Joe Biagini down in the bullpen, and he has done it in spades.
Yeah, both of these guys, Barnes and Tepera, have been very good. When you take Biagini out of the bullpen, that's a prominent role down there, and put him into the rotation. It's a big void to fill. You need people to step up, and they've had some relievers do that. Ryan's for sure been one of them.
Shortstop Orlando Arcia had an RBI single his last time up. Hits this one into the seats in the 2nd deck. You know, the Blue Jays have had a lot of adversity with all the injuries and missing their regulars, both Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Martin for a time, the starters. But if they can get everybody back in place, all the experience gained by Barnes and Leone and Tepera and Goins and Barney is going to pay them off in the second half. He went around. Garcia strikes out on that breaking ball. One away.
That's a great point, Buck, because you talk about treading water when your big stars go down. I joked last week, I said they're not just treading water, they're actually swimming a little bit. I mean, they're really fighting to stay ahead of the game, and they've done a nice job, and certainly can't wait to slowly get these guys back one at a time.
And another thing to think about, too, Marco Estrada coming off his best start of the season with 12 strikeouts on Sunday. You get Liriano back, you get Happ back, you get Sanchez back. Now you shorten the season to 4 months. Tulowitzki and Dallas come back. You know, they've been out for over a month now. And hopefully you'll plug them right in and they can just pick it up where they have left off. And then all of a sudden you've got all these extra guys with all these regular at-bats, and you've got a lot more depth. This is Nick Franklin. He's pinch hitting for the pitcher. Franklin's a switch hitter. It doesn't make any difference to Tepera, right or left. He'll take all comers. Tepera is holding left-handers to a 154 average. He's handled them just a little bit better than he's handled right-handers. Righties are hitting 176 against Ryan.
Well, he's got a combination of two things. The one is that sinking fastball. He'll throw the two-seamer now, too, and it works very well, and he can get up to 94, 95. But against left-handers, the big weapon is that cutter, and we'll see it running in on their hands at 90 to 92. And that's a lot for a lefty to handle, but you're right on about that. Ryan has handled lefties very well, and you know, John Gibbons has said that before. Somebody that gets lefties out, it's like having another lefty down there.
Couple of strikeouts. That's 5 strikeouts for the bullpen so far tonight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Anthony Alford with his first big league hit, a pinch hit double in the top half of this inning. Jacob Barnes and Neftali Feliz heating up for the Brewers. Danny Barnes had 3 strikeouts in his inning and 2/3. Now Tepera has 2 strikeouts. Jonathan Villar had a 2-run single in the 5th. A couple of stolen bases that inning. Three and 0 count. Villar now with 11 stolen bases. You certainly don't want to walk him with 2 outs. Right down Broadway. He walked. A 2-out walk to the leadoff man, Jonathan Villar. Now you got to keep your eye on him. He stole second and third in the 5th inning. And he represents the tying run. Bautista with a little encouragement coming over from third. Eric Thames is 1 for 2 with a walk. He stole a base on the back end of that double steal. That coming in the 5th inning. Hard breaking ball.
I think Thames was looking for a fastball first pitch, and he got that cutter, and that's the ideal cutter when you can start it middle. It looks like a fastball right until it gets to the hitting zone, and then it takes that turn, and Thames swung right over top of that baseball.
He was taking a step towards second and quickly dove back in ahead of the throw.
It's a good quick move by Tepera because of the long hold. You don't always want to do the same thing and come set and then hurry throw over. That's good timing right there. You wait it out, make that runner wait.
That time he went quickly. DeMarlo Hale calls these plays from the bench, and he does a great job. Russell Martin will peek in at Hale, and they will watch the base runners. Another snap throw, another dive back in. Two outs. There he goes. Cut on and missed. Throw from Martin. A good one. Right on top of the bag. But VR got a great jump and picks up his third stolen base of the night.
Well, you cannot get rid of the baseball any more efficiently than Russ Martin. Good jump again by the base runner, but it was a cut fastball again, and that just takes that extra fraction of a second to get to the catcher. Watch how quickly Russ, with his footwork, good little quick jab step right to the throwing hand. He transitions it, and then he throws a strike right onto the bag to second base, and that's just frustration in his face right there because he knew he did all he could do.
VR had 62 stolen bases last year. That led the National League. He was also caught 18 times. 3 stolen bases tonight. Oh, and 2. Missed inside.
This
Ball
is
and 2 strikes.
Very important for Ryan Tepera now not to worry about that runner, and he may try to take third, but he needs to focus on getting the hitter right here. He's got 2 strikes on Thames. The last thing you want to do is lose any bit of focus on getting the hitter right here in a 1-run ball game.
We're in the 7th inning. 4-3 Blue Jays. Missed inside. Thames has not hit well with runners in scoring position. Overall, a .207 average. Just 3 for his last 19. That's overall. Hit him. So Tepera hits Thames after walking VR. And that'll bring Ryan Braun to the plate.
Looked like another cut fastball here, and this ball just started in and then it cut inside even more, getting that front leg of Thames.
So Martin and Bautista out to the mound to have a chat with Tepera. They have handled Braun tonight. He has grounded out to first. He walked and he struck out. Danny Barnes struck him out. It was the first batter Barnes faced when he entered the game in the 5th.
This is where Russ is going to use his experience, and you're going to certainly use the strengths of your pitchers. Do you pitch to a hitter's weaknesses? Yes, but ultimately you're going to win and lose a ball game with your pitcher's strengths and his best pitch. And I think for Ryan Tepera, it's that 95-mile-per-hour heater if he can locate it.
Braun is 0 for 7 since coming off the disabled list. 0 for 5 on Sunday, 0 for 2 tonight. 2 outs. 95 but low. Braun is just 1 for 7 batting with runners in scoring position in 2 outs. That's a 143 average.
Just like against any good hitter, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to move the ball in and out, change the speeds back and forth, and perhaps even change the plane up and down. maybe something elevated, try to get Braun to chase as we've seen earlier tonight.
Chasing Villar back to second base just to shorten up his lead. Villar's at second, Thames at first. Fly ball. Alford in right. Makes the grab, and the inning is over. Tepera walks one, hits one, but strands two. Will go to the eighth. Blue Jays still clinging to that 4-3 lead.
Run, a batting average of .536 and 8 RBI. Now he's made the adjustment of positioning himself away from the plate. That's significant, of course, for pitch identification. But beyond that, Travis says, I'm quieter. See, when he was struggling, everything was tight. He'd grip the bat harder, he'd clench. Shoot, Travis said, even when I looked at the pitcher, I was all wound. Now he's more relaxed at the plate. I'm trusting my cage work, Travis said. I'm trusting my BP work. And he made sure to add, Buck, I'm not doubting myself anymore.
It's easy to do when you hit 130 for a month. You start to think about, man, am I ever going to get another hit? And Joe, you and I have both been there. You know, you start pressing, you start trying to hit the ball too hard, and you go out of your comfort zone.
You have to get results for that confidence to arrive.
Neftali Feliz, the new pitcher in to face Devin Travis. He delivers a first pitch strike. Carlos Torres got Morales to end the top of the seventh. Feliz working in his 21st game of the season. They have moved him out of his closer's role lately. The ERA at 6. Travis extended that hit streak, as Rash mentioned. He had a single in his first at bat. Came around to score the first run for the Blue Jays. One and two now.
Feliz will average around 97 miles per hour with that fastball. Got the slider and changeup to go with it, but it has been a tough go for him here. He last pitched on Sunday at Chicago, 1 inning, and did give up a run.
Neftali Feliz, now 29 years old, turned 29 on the 2nd of May. Came up as a 21-year-old for the Rangers in 2009. Really came into prominence that next season when he picked up 40 saves for the Rangers. In 2010, he was an All-Star and the American League Rookie of the Year. Three-two. Popped up into the outfield. Santana makes the grab, one away. DeMarlo Hale talking to Anthony Alford with Bautista listening in. I'll be talking a little bit about positioning and everything, and you can bet everybody in that dugout congratulating Anthony for his first major league hit, a pinch hit double, leading off the 7th. Russell Martin is 1 for 2. We mentioned it. Troy Tulowitzki and Josh Donaldson played in Dunedin tonight. They have completed their games. Donaldson finished up 2 for 3 with an RBI and a triple. Tulowitzki went 1 for 4, solo home run, as the Dunedin Blue Jays beat Fort Myers 3-2. So, Joe, I would imagine that they'll play again tomorrow and jump on a plane, come to Toronto on the off day, and get set to resume action with the big league club on Friday.
Makes a lot of sense. That's what you hope the game plan is, but we know during these injury rehabs we've been disappointed before when you think a player's coming back and they didn't. I know John Gibbons himself has become very frustrated with that.
You know, it's May 2nd, 3rd, May 23rd. Everybody in the East has lost. You start to look at that and say, man, the Blue Jays could be 7.5 games out of first. That's all that matters. Sharply hit the shortstop. Arcia has it. Youngster makes a nice play. Easy. 6-3. Martin is out.
When you look around the division too, and those starts that the Yankees got off to, and of course Baltimore and Blue Jays just saw the Orioles, it's always a battle when you play them, but you have to wonder about that starting rotation of the New York Yankees, if it's going to be able to hold up. Masahiro Tanaka, for one, has been a mess. And are those kids going to continue to hit for 6 months? They've gotten off to a great start, of course, offensively, but there has to be question marks there. There's always question marks in Baltimore. You know that, so you're going to have to deal with it. The Red Sox, where do you want to begin?
Right. And the Red Sox are actually winning now. Their game is not final in Boston. It's 9-6, but Minnesota beat Baltimore 2-0. Kansas City beat New York 6-2. And the Angels beat Tampa Bay 4-0. Chris Coghlan 0-2 with a walk. Pops this one back toward the screen. Pena will get there and make the catch. It stayed in play. Easy inning for Neftali Feliz. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Blue Jays have the lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
It's Thursday night in the 6th. It's Tulo T-shirt night presented by TD. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Tulo T-shirt. You can join pregame in the WestJet flight deck for live music and entertainment. BlueJays.com for tickets for Thursday night in the 6th, presented by TD, and a Troy Tulowitzki T-shirt giveaway.
Boy, the bullpen has really stepped up tonight. Danny Barnes went an inning and 2/3 with 3 strikeouts. Ryan Tepera had 2 strikeouts in his inning, and now Joe Smith, who's really been lights out of late, will make his 24th appearance of the season.
Joe Smith has been as advertised when he came over as a free agent to the Blue Jays. 31 strikeouts in his 21 innings of work, only 7 walks, and that's very good news. Joe pitched on Sunday in the Blue Jays 3-1 win at Baltimore. He hit Manny Machado, but they came in and struck out Chris Davis to get through that inning.
Joe Smith comes in now with 24 appearances. Darwin Barney is at third base. Bautista is in left field, and Bautista's in right field. Anthony Alford now moves to left.
Now we know what that conversation was about in the dugout.
Fly ball to left. Barney gives chase, but it is out of play.
Well, I thought they might be thinking of the whole double switch scenario here in the National League, but John Gibbons, of course, thinking how is he going to be best defensively late in this ball game with the lead, and the way he feels that is with the former Gold Glover Darwin Barney at third base, and then you slide Alford over to left. Bautista goes back home to where he is most accustomed to and right.
There's a strike. 1-2 to Travis Shaw, the cleanup hitter. Shaw has struck out 3 times tonight. Elevating that fastball once again. It's something you don't see very often from a sidearm pitcher, but Joe Smith does it very well. Traditionally, sidearmers are looking to sink the ball and throw downstairs, but he has the knack for throwing that fastball upstairs and gets a lot of strikeouts with it.
He throws a 2- and 4-seam fastball from down there, which is very rare. Most guys just sinking it, but Joe will throw the 4-seamer in. Here it comes right now and up.
Shaw strikes out for a 4th time tonight. 1 away in the 8th.
It's a great weapon for a guy like Smith, because if you're a left-handed hitter facing him, you're setting your sights down in the zone. But this ball almost looks like it rises on Shaw as he chases it up and away out of the zone. It's a great weapon for him because he will also sink it down.
Ryan Braun's had a rough start to his night. He's 0 for 2 with a walk.
Tim Leeper giving instructions to Anthony Alford, who's moved over to left field now.
So Ryan Braun, of course, this is Santana. He's 0 for 2.
There's that sinker down and in, and Joe can get a lot of ground balls that way right there. Just missed his spot.
Strike right at the bottom of the strike zone. Barnes, Tepera, and now Joe Smith have combined to strike out 6. That's something the Blue Jays haven't had for a while. The strikeouts out of their bullpen. Make it 7. Santana goes down on that slider.
It's such a great weapon to have coming in out of your bullpen, because oftentimes these guys are coming into sticky situations. We saw Danny Barnes do it earlier tonight, and the ability to keep the ball from being put in play. That's why that strikeout is so valuable. Crazy things can happen, especially late in the game in a 1-run game.
Especially when you're pitching against the American League East. All those lineups are very patient hitters. They put the ball in play. And when you have the strikeout capabilities, that makes for easier finishes to the games. Hernan Perez, the center fielder.
And they have such a great offense here in Milwaukee, but if there's one chink in the armor, it's the strikeouts. And Blue Jays pitching has certainly taken advantage of that here tonight.
The Brewers are second in baseball in strikeouts. Only the Tampa Bay Rays have struck out more than Milwaukee. Ground ball. Goins waits it short. Takes his time. Joe Smith, 3 up, 3 down. Bullpen has been terrific tonight. We'll go to the 9th. The Blue Jays with a 1-run lead. 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time on Sportsnet. That's the pregame show. Marcus Stroman will go to the hill and matched up against Matt Garza. Garza's off to a good start. He's 2-0 with a 243 earned run average. Marcus Stroman made his second start of the season against Milwaukee. He had a complete game against the Brewers, allowed 2 runs, but he took the loss in that good effort by Chase Anderson as the Brewers won 2-0. So that's our pitching matchup tomorrow afternoon. Make sure you check it all out. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern. Neftali Feliz back for a second inning of relief. Works to Ryan Goins. Anthony Alford is on deck. Popped up out into the outfield. That is Arcia, who goes all the way out into shallow center to make the play. And Goins is retired. So here is Anthony Alford, who had his first big league hit last time up as a pinch hitter in the 7th. He hit one off the wall in center, and you can see it looked like the catcher just congratulating Anthony for his first big league hit.
Big smile, and he should be smiling. Exactly. That's a pretty nice move by Manny Pena there. You know exactly that's what he was saying.
Outside, a ball on the strike. Anthony Alford, 22 years old. He was drafted by the Blue Jays in the 3rd round of the draft in 2012. He signed, but that was under the condition that he could still play football. So his first year in the minor leagues, he played 5 games. In his second year, he played 6. So he didn't play more than that until his 3rd year, and then he only played 14. So 2015 was his first season of really playing a lot of games. He played 107 games in 2015. Two balls and 2 strikes.
This is Anthony's first major league hit earlier tonight. Hanging slider out over the plate, and he did some damage. Almost got this ball up and out of the ballpark. Of course, with his good speed, it's an easy stand-up double. Not far from getting it out, but they throw the baseball out, and that's a souvenir that Alford will have for the rest of his life.
This time he strikes out. 2 outs here in the top half of the 9th. No matter what happens, they can never take that hit away from him. His first big league hit, a ringing double. Roberto Osuna getting ready with some instruction from Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach. Osuna closed out the game on Sunday, picked up his 6th save of the season. Kevin Pillar singled his first time up. He waved at that breaking ball. 0-2.
It looks like Feliz has trouble keeping that breaking ball in the zone, so if they can lay off it, force him back onto the plate, that's going to be their best MO, but very difficult to do, and that tight slider looks like a fastball until it hits the hitting zone.
The Brewers, coming into this game, had a 10-15 record against the Blue Jays, their best interleague record. Pillar protects that outside corner. Stayed on that pitch and fouled it out of play. In case you're just joining us, Joe Biagini started the game. He went 4 1/3. He left with 2 runners on. Danny Barnes came in and stranded those 2 base runners. Barnes pitched an inning in 2/3 of hitless ball with 3 strikeouts. Tepera had a clean inning, a walk and 2 strikeouts. Joe Smith, a couple of strikeouts in his 1-2-3 inning. The bullpen really terrific again tonight.
And they have had stretches this season where they have been terrific like that for a duration of time, but it's just been that inconsistency. Same thing in the rotation, but of course there's been some fill-ins that you're not expecting to have that greatness all the time.
Pilar strikes out. 2 good innings for Neftali Feliz, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Roberto Osuna will come on to try to close it out for the Jays. For more on Osuna, let's check in with Arash Madani.
Well, Buck, it sure looked like Osuna had a new toy in his bag of tricks when he locked down that save Sunday in Baltimore, pulling out the cutter. I asked him if that's new or something he's been tinkering with. Osuna says he's had it for a while. He works on it when the pitchers throw each afternoon, but in-game only pulls it out when he really needs it, when he has to get an out. Now the bread and butter with Osuna remains the 4-seamer, but the cutter is there too, which we saw make a rare appearance in Sunday's win.
Picked up that save. He gave up 2 base hits. A base hit to Trumbo and a base hit to Mancini, but he was able to get out of it. Got a double play off the bat of Wellington Castillo. So it's the bottom 3rd of the Brewers lineup. Manny Pena, the catcher, takes the first pitch strike. Pena had a single in that 3-run 5th inning. Oh, and 2. Boy, Blue Jays bullpen tonight has come in and thrown strike after strike. They've done a great job of pitching ahead. Justin Smoke in defensively at first base for Kendrys Morales. Ground ball. Goins it short, has time, and he throws out the catcher, 1 away. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Carly Agro. Thank you very much, Carly. That's all coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned to check that all out. Lots of scores around the baseball world as well. This is the shortstop, Orlando Arcia. Cut on in this big wild swing. That ball was about 5 inches outside.
Good fastball from Osuna at 95 miles per hour. He's got the slider and changeup, but as Arash said, we've seen a few more cutters now. be around 90, 91. The slider will be more in the mid 80s.
0-2. Osuna is 6 for 9 in saves this season. As we mentioned, he picked up the save 6 on Sunday in Baltimore. Roberto began the season on a disabled list, and with that, he really didn't develop that good velocity and command until he got probably 7-8 appearances under his belt. There you see the numbers for his last 11 appearances, strong across the board. Osuna was charged with 3 blown saves in 4 of his first save opportunities. Been a different story lately. That ball is in the air. Pilar coming in quickly makes the catch, 2 away. So the pinch hitter will be Eric Sogard, who has been called up. This will be his 9th game since coming up from the minors, and he is hitting .500. 11 for 22 since his call up with 2 homers and 7 RBIs.
That's how you make a first impression.
Sogard, of course, spent many years with the Oakland A's. He came up with Oakland and spent 6 seasons with Oakland. He did not appear in the big leagues last year. He had knee surgery, and now this is his 9th game with the Brewers. 9 for 16 in his last 5 games. Osuna falls behind 2-0. Aguilar, Franklin, and Sogard now the 3rd pinch hitter. 3-0. It's a 1-run game. Leadoff man Jonathan Villar on deck. There's a strike, 3-1.
Nice job by Martin right there, hanging on to that pitch. Oftentimes a catcher will allow that ball just off the outside corner to take your catcher's mitt out of the zone. He made sure he held on and brought it in, and that's how he got that call to keep this at bat alive. See if Osuna can't take advantage of it.
That clipped the umpire, Marty Foster, but it's a full count. We'll be right back here tomorrow afternoon. It all starts at 12:30. That's the pregame show, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn will start things off, and we'll follow them about 30 minutes later. Three-two pitch. Ball 4. A 2-out walk issued to the pinch hitter, Eric Sogard. That's the 5th walk issued by the Blue Jays, and it comes at a bad time. 2 outs in the 9th.
Well, Sogard's been swinging a hot bat, but that's not a guy you're going to shy away from. You're going right after him, and Osuna just missed with that last pitch. Maybe tried to amp up a little bit too much and left it high.
Jonathan Villar, be careful on the first pitch. He'll be letting it fly. Up and away for ball 1. Villar had a 2-run single in the 5th. He walked in the 7th. Another pitch upstairs. It's 2-0. Nothing has been easy for John Gibbons this season. A home run cut, another high fastball. The bullpen to this point has not allowed a base hit. Four and a third innings of hitless relief. Strike two.
That's where Roberto needs to be with that pitch. He was missing up in the zone, and he got the one big swing and a miss, but you're flirting with a lot of danger if you're up hanging around the belt. Watch Russell Martin says, give me this thing way out here. That's not a pitch you can do much with as a hitter, and we'll see if he doesn't try to do the same thing with this next one.
You can see the awkward swing it took VR just to get the bat on the ball.
You don't need a radar gun. Read the swings of hitters. Tells you the quality of the pitch.
2-2, 2 outs. Sogard at first base. Osuna strikes out VR to end the game. The bullpen with 8 strikeouts tonight. A terrific job. No hits allowed by the bullpen as they shut the door on the Brewers.
Well, Joe Biagini was not bad tonight. I'm sure he would have liked to go a lot deeper. The offense scored just enough runs, but the story of the night is this Blue Jays bullpen. Outstanding by Barnes to Paris Smith, and Roberto Osuna comes in to close things out. These are the kinds of performances you need when your starter scuffles, and the Blue Jays are in that situation with the injuries in the rotation.
With the win tonight, the Blue Jays are 3-3 on the road trip. So